Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to jump into another deep dive? This time, we're tackling how to care for your coin collection. And to guide us, we're using some great info from the United States Mint.
Their guide is fantastic, really thorough.
You might think, metal, it's tough, what can go wrong? But there's more to it.
Oh, way more. It's a whole fascinating area preserving these little pieces of history and art.
Okay, so let's start with the very basics. Handling. The Mint is super clear. Hold coins by the edges only. I'll admit I've slipped up before, touched the face. But why is that so bad?
It's all about what we leave behind. Oils from our skin, even tiny amounts, over time they corrode the metal. Think how many hands a circulated coin's gone through. That's a lot of oil.
Right, makes sense. So gloves are the way to go.
For valuable coins, definitely. Soft cotton gloves, they create a barrier, protect the surface.
Noted. Now, this one surprised me. The guide says, don't polish coins. Isn't shiny what we want?
It's a trap. Shiny doesn't equal valuable, not for collectors. That aged look, the patina, that's proof of authenticity, of history. Polishing strips all that away, like sanding down an antique.
Ah, so you'd actually be decreasing the value by polishing.
Exactly. It's like wiping away the coin's fingerprint, its unique story.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if you have to clean a coin? Like you dug it up, it's caked in vape.
Even then, go super gentle. Mild soap and water only, no scrubbing. Like a delicate bath.
And the drying has to be special too, right?
Absolutely. Pat it dry with a soft cloth, no rubbing at all.
Got it. Gentle all the way. So handling's covered, but what about storage? That's going to be huge for preservation, right?
Huge. And the Mint Guide points out a hidden enemy, temperature swings. And moisture, too.
So no dramatic monologues over my coin collection. Got it.
Yep.
But seriously, why are those bad?
It's all about condensation. Those swings cause moisture to form on the coin. That leads to spots, discoloration, even corrosion.
Makes sense. You want a stable environment.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, what does the Mint recommend for storage?
For modern coins, keep them in their original packaging. Those cases, folders, capsules, they're designed for the coin.
Good reminder, keep those. What about for older coins or bigger collections, any other options?
The guide mentions lots, holders, tubes, albums. But for high H-value coins, hard plastic is key. Professionals even use something called slabbing.
Slabbing. Sounds intense.
It's basically a tamper-proof, airtight holder done by a grading service.
Like a mini museum display case for your coin.
Exactly. But before we dive into grading, let's talk about materials to avoid. Two big ones. Acid and PVC.
PVC, that's the one that turns into that sticky green goo, right? Nightmare fuel.
That's the one. Always look for acid-free and PVC-free storage. Your coins will thank you.
Okay, so storage is all about being careful, choosing the right stuff.
Yeah.
What else does the Mint recommend for keeping our collections safe?
Documentation is key. Keep those certificates, info cards.
I've got to admit, I've been bad about that.
It's like a coin's pedigree, proves authenticity, origin, can even boost value.
Makes sense. Adds to the story. So handling, storage, documentation. What about actually checking our coins for damage?
The guy has some great tips for that. Get familiar with each coin, use a magnifying glass, good lighting.
Sounds like detective work.
Exactly. Look for scratches, dents, any discoloration or corrosion. Those things can impact the grade and value.
Got it. So we're looking for any imperfections, even tiny ones.
You got it. A ruler can also be helpful to measure the diameter. Sometimes you find those rare errors, misprints. Those can be valuable.
Let's see. So we're on the hunt for those too.
And a good coin reference book is essential, like a dictionary for collectors.
So magnifying glass, ruler, reference book, anything else for our inspection kit.
A soft cloth or pad to hold the coin over prevents drops and scratches.
So many tools. This is way more involved than I thought.
It is meticulous, but the rewards are worth it.
I'm definitely feeling more knowledgeable, but also realizing I've got work to do on my own collection.
And that's what this deep dive is all about, right?
Exactly. But, all this focus on the how, I'm curious about the why. What is it about coins that makes us want to collect and care for them?
It's that connection to history, holding a piece of the past, realizing we're part of a larger story.
Yeah, it's humbling.
And that sense of wonder, I think that's what drives collectors. It's not just about the object, it's about the story, the meaning.
So it's more than keeping them shiny. It's about being responsible for history.
Exactly. And speaking of responsibility, the guide mentions something that really surprised me.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Even talking over your coins can be bad for them.
Wait, what? How is that possible?
Saliva.
Yeah.
When we talk, we project tiny droplets, and if those land on a coin.
You. Like mini acid rain.
Kinda.
Right.
It just shows how careful we need to be and minimize any contact.
So no talking, no touching. Sounds like I need a hazmat suit for my collection now.
Not quite, but vigilance is key. We're preserving value and beauty.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, for sure. I'm rethinking a lot of my habit.
That's what we love to hear.
But before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, slabbing. That whole world of professional coin grading seems a bit mysterious to me.
It's where expertise comes in. Basically, they assess a coin's condition, give it a numerical grade.
So higher grade, higher value.
Exactly. High grade means pristine condition. Low grade means more wear and tear.
So museum quality coins, those are top of the scale.
You got it. Mint state, meaning perfect condition like new.
But who decides the grade? Is it subjective?
That's where professional grading services come in. They're the experts.
So like the Supreme Court of coin grading?
You could say that. They use special tools, lighting, check for every tiny flaw.
Sounds intense. And then they seal it in that tamper-proof slab.
Exactly. It protects the coin, displays the grade, adds authenticity and value.
Like its own fortress.
It gives peace of mind, especially for valuable coins.
Okay, so if you're serious about collecting, getting coins graded is the way to go.
It adds that extra layer of trust and transparency.
This whole grading world is fascinating, but I want to circle back to something we mentioned before, the history. It's easy to get caught up in value and condition, but there's a story behind each coin.
You're so right. Each one's a window into the past.
It's like holding a tiny time capsule.
And by caring for them, we're preserving history, A&D, cultural significance.
So it's more than shiny metal, it's being responsible for history.
Precisely. Which brings us to documentation again. Those certificates, info cards, they tell the coin story, add to its value.
Like a piece of art with its authentication papers.
Exactly.
So we've got handling, storage, records, anything else for keeping our collections safe.
The guide actually talks about inspecting your coins, getting to know them.
Putting on our detective hats again.
Exactly. Use a magnifying glass, look for scratches, dents, discoloration, anything unusual.
I can picture myself hunched over, super focused like Sherlock Holmes.
It can be quite fun. You start to notice all the little details.
Any other tools that might be helpful?
A ruler's good for measuring the diameter, helps spot those rare errors.
Those are the ones collectors go crazy for, right?
Exactly. And a good reference book is essential. Tells you all about dates, mint marks, varieties.
Like a coin dictionary.
Precisely. Helps you understand the language of collecting.
Okay, magnifying glass, ruler, reference book, anything else?
A soft cloth to hold the coin over prevents accidents.
Wow, so much to think about. Caring for a coin collection is a real commitment.
It does require attention to detail, but it's incredibly rewarding.
I'm feeling a lot more knowledgeable now, but also a little overwhelmed.
And that's okay. It's a journey. You learn as you go.
True. But, we've talked a lot about the how, the technical stuff. I'm curious about your thoughts on the why. What is it about coins that makes us want to collect them, care for them?
For me, it's that connection to history, holding a piece of the past in your hand.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It really is, and I think that's what draws people in. It's not just about the object itself, but what it represents.
So it's more than just preserving their value. It's about preserving history itself. Well, this deep dive has been amazing. So much great info from the Mint Guide.
There's still more to come. Join us for the next part as we uncover even more insights and tips.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive. Hope you're ready for more coin care wisdom.
Oh, I'm definitely paying more attention to my collection now, especially after that PVC talk, that green goo. Yuck.
It's a collector's worst nightmare.
So you mentioned slabbing before. That's for getting coins professionally graded, right?
Right. It's a big part of the collecting world, especially for serious investors.
To be honest, the whole grading system seems kind of confusing to me.
It is a specialized area, but it's not as complicated as it seems. Basically, it's all about assessing a coin's condition and assigning a grade based on a standardized scale.
So higher grade equals higher value.
Exactly. The better the condition, the higher the grade, and the more valuable the coin.
So those perfect coins you see in museums, those would be at the top of the scale.
Exactly. Those are considered mint state, meaning they're practically flawless, like they just came from the mint.
Okay, that makes sense. But who gets to decide what grade a coin gets? It seems kind of subjective.
That's where professional grading services come in. They employ expert numismatists who are trained to evaluate coins.
So they're like the coin judges.
You could say that. They use specialized tools, lighting, magnification to examine every detail.
Wow, I wouldn't want their job. So once they've given a coin a grade, that's when it gets sealed in that tamper-proof slab.
That's right. The slab not only protects the coin, but also displays its grade, adding to its authenticity and value.
So it's like a little fortress for the coin,
Mhm.
preserving its grade and protecting it from damage.
Exactly. And having a coin professionally graded gives buyers and sellers more confidence because it's been assessed by experts.
Okay, so if you're thinking about investing in rare coins, getting them graded is a good idea.
Definitely provides peace of mind, especially when you're dealing with significant sums of money.
This is all super interesting. But I want to shift gears a bit, go back to something we talked about before, the history. It's easy to get caught up in grades and values, but sometimes I think we forget about the stories behind the coins.
Absolutely. Each coin is a tangible piece of history, a window into the past.
It's like holding a little time capsule in your hand.
And by caring for these objects, we're not just preserving their monetary value, but also their historical and cultural significance.
So it's not just about keeping them shiny, it's about being a guardian of history.
Exactly. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of coin care that the Mint Guide emphasizes: documentation.
Right. The guide mentions keeping certificates and info cards, and I'll admit I haven't been great about that.
Those documents are so important. They're like a coin's pedigree, providing proof of its authenticity, origin, and sometimes even historical significance.
So it's not just about the coin itself, but also the story behind it. And I guess that story can actually increase the coin's value.
Absolutely. A coin with well-documented provenance is always going to be more desirable to collectors.
Makes sense. So we've talked about handling, storage, and documentation. What else can we do to protect our collections?
Well, the Mint Guide recommends regularly inspecting your coins for any signs of damage or wear.
Time to put on our detective hats again.
Exactly. Use a good magnifying glass and strong lighting to examine your coins closely. Look for scratches, dents, discoloration, or any hints of corrosion. Those imperfections can affect a coin's grade and value.
So we're looking for anything out of the ordinary, any little flaw.
You got it. The guide also suggests using a plastic ruler to measure the diameter of your coins, which can help identify specific varieties or errors.
Ah, so those rare misprints that collectors love.
Exactly. And speaking of valuable resources, the guide recommends having a good coin reference book on hand, something with information on dates, mint marks, varieties, and grading guidelines.
Just like a dictionary for coins.
Exactly. It's a must-have for any serious collector.
Okay, magnifying glass, ruler, reference book.
Mhm.
Anything else we need for our coin inspection kit?
One more thing. A soft cloth or pad to hold the coins over while you're examining them. This helps prevent accidental drops and protects the delicate surfaces from scratches.
Wow, so much to remember. Caring for a coin collection is serious business.
It does require attention to detail and a willingness to learn, but the rewards are definitely worth it.
I'm feeling a lot more knowledgeable, but also a little overwhelmed by all the things I need to do.
And that's perfectly normal. It's a learning process. You don't have to become an expert overnight.
True, but we've focused a lot on the how of caring for coins, the practical steps. I'm also curious about the why behind it all. What is it about coins that makes us want to collect them, preserve them, cherish them?
I think it's that connection to history they provide. When you hold a coin in your hand, you're holding a tangible piece of the past.
It's a powerful feeling, isn't it?
It is, and I think that sense of wonder and connection is what drives a lot of collectors. It's not just about owning objects, it's about connecting with history, understanding our place in the grand scheme of things.
That's beautifully said. And it reminds me that caring for a coin collection is about more than just preserving its monetary value. It's about preserving the stories, the history, the human element that these objects represent.
Exactly, and that brings us back to the original question. Why bother with all this fuss? What's the point of meticulously caring for these little pieces of metal?
I think we've answered that question pretty well. It's not just about the coins themselves. It's about the stories they tell, the connections they forge, and the sense of wonder they inspire.
Precisely. And with that, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the importance of grading and documentation, the practicalities of coin care, and the deeper meaning behind this fascinating hobby.
It's been a fascinating journey. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the world of coin collecting.
And we're not done yet. The United States Mint Guide still has more to offer. Join us for the final part of this deep dive as we uncover even more insights and tips that will help you become a true coin care connoisseur.
Back again for the final part of our coin care deep dive. Going through this Mint Guide, it's made me realize there's a real art to this whole thing.
Absolutely. It's more than just rules. It's finding that balance, Protecting your coins, but also, appreciating them, enjoying them.
It's like you want to be careful, but not too careful, right?
Exactly. The Mint actually talks about this too. It's important to handle and store them right, but also to actually engage with your collection. Learn about the coins, appreciate their history, the artistry.
Makes sense. Otherwise, what's the point of having them?
Right. Don't just lock them away. The guide encourages you to research each coin. Learn the historical context, who's depicted, the events, how coinage has evolved.
Like your collection becomes a history lesson.
Exactly. They even suggest going further, visiting museums, historical sites, going to coin shows, auctions, even connecting with other collectors.
So it's a community too, not just a solitary hobby.
Oh, definitely. The guide emphasizes learning from others, sharing that passion.
So as we wrap up, what's the one big takeaway you hope listeners get from all this?
I think it's that coin care doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming. With a little guidance, anyone can do it. Become a responsible collector.
And it's not just about preserving value, right? It's about appreciating the history, the stories. Those coins, they're more than just metal, they're pieces of the past.
Beautifully said, and that's what makes this hobby so special.
It's been an amazing deep dive. I've learned so much.
Me too. We've covered so much, from the technical stuff to the deeper meaning.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of coin collecting.
That's wonderful to hear. And remember, those coins you have, they're more than just objects. They hold stories, connections to history. Take some time to explore that.
So, to everyone listening, next time you hold a coin, think about its journey, where it's been. Let your curiosity guide you. You might be surprised what you discover.
And that's the true joy of coin collecting, that journey of exploration and connection.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Happy collecting.